Hi, this is Joe Slack, one of the designers of Mayan Curse. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the game and how to play Mayan Curse. Connect all the boards together using the transition boards in between. You'll start with the short 7-slab river with the sides, and then the 9-slab river, and then the temple. Each of these connected by these transition areas. Then you will place the slabs. First one with one symbol goes in the first spot, the next one with the second symbol goes in the second spot, and all the rest will be shuffled and randomly placed throughout. Note as well, when you're placing these slabs, that the symbols go on the rightmost side to line them all up. Make sure to line up the dots on the temple, and then rotate it in any way you like to make a path to the left, center, and right paths. Place the stelae, or monument tokens, on the darker shaded spaces according to the player count. For the 2-player count, they alternate between left and right in this path. And then the gray steles alternate between the left and the rightmost shaded path for the first 6, and then the tall beige stele alternating on the last 3. On the temple, start out on the base first level and put one brown stele on the closest point into the center, and then one across from it. Then go up one layer and put it across opposite. Then take one of the next paths and put 2 of the grays on the 3rd level, and then on the 4th level, put 2 of the grays opposite to those, so they will be equal distance. No stelae go on the second top layer or the very top. Then count out the number of cameras based on the number of players and place one at the top of the temple. The other one can be set aside near the temple. Roll the boulders and place them onto the 3 spots indicated here. Place 1 trigger token on the first, 2 on the second, and 3 on the third. In the case of the solo game, you will place 2 tokens on the first, 1 on the second, and 1 on the third. Give each player a backpack card, and everybody can pick 1 adventurer meeple to place anywhere in this open area. Where you start doesn't matter as long as you're within these rows. Give the first player token to the last player who visited an ancient ruin, or the youngest player. Take all of the sacred stones, put them in the sacred purse, and then give them a good shake. You're now ready to play. At the start of the round, all players will take 3 sacred stones from the sacred purse. Now, in turn order, players will begin their movement. You start off by doing up to 3 slides. A slide is moving any one of the slabs 1 space. So you can do that on 3 different ones, or the same one, whichever way you want to break it up to 3 slides. When you get closer to the temple, you can use your slides to rotate the temple as well. When you're rotating the slabs on the temple, you can rotate one, but every other one above it must move with it, which can make it tricky to get back out. But if you make it to the top to see the ancient city in a distance, you will take a picture with your camera, which is going to be worth 15 points at the end of the game. You can split up your movements between the slabs and the temple as long as you're moving only the slabs that you are on or that you will be moving to on that turn.
But in the solo mode, you can slide any slabs you like.
So let's say green is the first player, and these are their stones. They may do 3 slides, something like that. And then they can use these sacred stones to cross those in any order as long as they have the matching symbol. So I could use this one to go across all matching symbols that are adjacent, this symbol across all these that are adjacent, and if you have a tile that's double-sided, you can use one or the other. You have a little choice there. So you can cross over here, and you can get to this open free area, which is free to walk along. Now we passed 2 of these stelae, so we will take these monument and keep them for ourselves. And the values are on the bottom. You won't show them to any other player, but you'll keep them for you, and that will be the knowledge that you've gained through the game. The player with the most knowledge at the end of the game will be the winner, so that's important to collect. The next player will take their turn just as the first one did, doing their 3 slides and their movement. Keep in mind though, if you don't like the symbols you have here or they're not a good match, you can trade 2 in for a wild. So for instance, I could have traded these 2 in for a purple, and that helped on my path. After all players have taken their turn, they will put their sacred stones back in the bag.
And pass the first player token clockwise.
Then you'll check to see if any boulders have been activated. They get activated when these tokens are removed. If there's no tokens on the boulder, they get to move. But how do the tokens get removed? When playing the multiplayer game, every gray stele and beige stele that are taken will result in one of these tokens being removed, starting from left to right. So if on a turn I were to take one stele that's gray or beige, I would remove one of these tokens. At the end of the round, after all players have gone, that would trigger this boulder to go. Only the boulders with no tokens on them will move, and once they start moving, at the end of the round, every one of those will move again. The boulders move towards their closest symbol. So you look on the top, and it will tumble towards the closest one. So if we count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the closest. It will flip to that spot. If a boulder was equal distance from 2, it would go to the one that's closer towards the entrance. You know some boulders have a Mayan symbol on them as well. In that case, it just means to go to the closest one. They will always move forward, so they never stay on the same slab unless there's no way for them to move or they would have to move back. However, once a boulder gets close enough to the entrance, if the next symbol is further than the entrance spot, it will roll towards the entrance and continue rolling until it blocks one spot. Once that happens, all of the slabs in this section are reset. If a boulder goes over one of the stela, it's crushed and removed from the game. Another way that the boulders are triggered is when a player reaches the level before the temple. At the end of the round, if there's any players who have made it at least that far, all trigger tokens will be removed from all boulders, and they will all start to move. If there's more than one boulder out on the board, it's always the one closest to the entrance that moves first. And if it's a tie, then it's the one further to the left, towards the symbols. If your adventurer is in the way when it's coming towards you, you will swap positions with wherever the boulder was coming from, narrowly dodging it. Play will continue in this manner until players escape or boulders come and block. When all 3 boulders reach the entrance, the game ends. Any players left on the board will forfeit their chance of winning and will be trapped here forever. The game can also end when all adventurers have made it out. You also have a handy backpack with 4 useful items in it. You can use any of those items once in the game, but if you do, it will be flipped over and you won't be able to use any more. However, if you don't use any of your items, this will be worth 2 knowledge at the end of the game. The machete allows you to use one of the sacred stones as a wild, any symbol. The map allows you to move to any space on the slab you're standing on at the start of your turn. The compass will allow you to move to any adjacent space in any direction at the start of your turn. And the elixir will give you 1 extra slide on your turn. You can also go over top of a boulder if you have the matching symbol. You just can't end your turn there, so you have to make sure to advance beyond that. Players can pass through a space that another player is on, or end their turn on the same space as long as they have the matching symbol. One other thing to note is that when you reach the transition boards, that breaks up your symbols. So if you had the dog symbol, you could walk to here, but then you'd have to start with another one. You also can't return to the same symbol again unless you had 2 of that same symbol. At the end of the game, you're going to check how much knowledge each player has based on what's on the bottom of your stele. 2 points if you didn't use your backpack, and 15 points if you managed to capture a camera. The player with the most knowledge wins. If there's a tie, it's the player with the most stele. Otherwise, the victory is shared. And that's how you play Mayan Curse.